I'm going to go through the entire Cold War Zombies DLC map list and cover all of the evidence, the leaked information that we have for each new zombie map for each upcoming season of Black Ops Cold War Zombies. There's a ton of information to go through here about all different types of maps, including remakes and remasters, so be sure to watch the entire video if you can. If we can go for 500 likes on the video, that would be greatly appreciated. Maybe drop a sub if you're new, I'd appreciate that as well. The description. Now, before we go through any of this information, it's important to set the stage as to why we might actually be getting a lot of these zombie maps. Treyarch obviously decided to bring us Firebase Z DLC 1 in Season 1 of Black Ops Cold War Zombies, which wasn't supposed to happen. At least according to them, they originally told us that we are getting a new Zombies map in Season 2. They, I guess, lied to us and they brought it ahead earlier. It was a good lie. It's a good surprise. We're getting this map early, but what does that mean for the rest of the Cold War Zombies DLC season? We originally thought that we were only going to get a new Zombies map every other season. So we thought we would only get a map Season 2, Season 4, and Season 6, which only leaves us with 3 DLC zombie maps. Now, we're getting it in Season 1, but are we getting a new Zombies map in Season 2? And it looks like we actually are, because at the end of Treyarch's 115-day blog post, they said this: before we go, we'll leave you with this. What we've talked about today is just a glimpse of what's planned for zombies in 2021. If you think you know what to expect in Season 2, think again. Now that right there is such a good statement. It is super good to see Treyarch telling us that don't worry, you're gonna get some stuff in Season 2. If we weren't getting a new zombies map during Season 2 of Cold War, they wouldn't tell us that. They wouldn't hype us up for no reason. So it looks like we might actually be getting a new zombies map every season, which leaves us with at least 6 new zombie maps. For Modern Warfare, we had 6 seasons. For Black Ops Cold War, I'd assume we'd also have 6 seasons. And that means 6 DLC zombie maps, and potentially even more if there is a Zombie Chronicles 2.0 or some type of extra second year of DLC seasons for Black Ops Cold War. Now, that being said, let's go through each season and the new DLC zombie map that we're most likely going to receive during that season. The first one here, Firebase Z, releasing Thursday, February 4th. We know kind of what we're getting with this map. It's at the Quezon Combat Base. It's Omega Group's next outpost, and what we know so far is that they have captured Samantha Maxis, and it looks like the storyline for this map, the potential Easter egg for this map, will be revolving around saving Samantha Maxis. Also finding out who exactly R is. Why is this R character sending all of these letters to Samantha? Is it Eddie Richtofen? Is it Reznov? Is it, some other guy, a random new guy named R? We'll really have to wait and see, and I do think we'll get that information discovered and told to us in this Firebase Z Zombies map. And some more general stuff with the map here. It looks like the map is going to be split into 2 separate locations, one in the village, one in the combat base. We know that because of one of the teaser images that Treyarch tweeted out. New Omega teleportation system connects the village to Omega facility, and that's going to be a pretty cool gameplay feature of this new map. Some more stuff here. The boss zombie that we see in one of the first reveal images for Firebase Z. People are talking about what this is from. There's definitely some clear relation to a Margwa. Noah J said it looks like a Margwa and a Blightfather came together. Some people were saying there's some Keeper resemblance here. Eric Maynard over on Twitter said that he's convinced that this is a Dark Ether mutated Void Bow skull, and as crazy as that sounds, that could honestly be the case, and hopefully we get some understanding as to what exactly the Dark Ether is doing to this new universe and how exactly it's corrupting these different types of zombies. But it's definitely a super cool zombie boss there that will be seen on Firebase Z. And finally, the Wonder Weapon for this map. We did talk about the potential for the Wonder Off being on this map in the Season 1 Reloaded roadmap. The operator is holding what looks like to be some type of Wonderoff. Now, people are saying that this is most likely a master craft for the 8K or the SKS or something, but there's clearly a teaser, a hint at the Wonderoff. Now, does the Wonderoff make sense to be in Firebase Z? I'm not so sure. Later on in the video, we're going to be talking about a potential Die Rise Remake, a Berlin Zombies map, and it would make more sense to see the Wonderoff in that map instead of in Firebase Z. So whenever it comes, they're definitely teasing something there with the Wonderoff. And that's pretty much the wrap up here for the important information we know about Firebase Z. Now let's get into a bunch of the other DLC zombie maps. The next one here is the Ural Mountains zombie map. Now this one is seen on Weaver's computer screen at the beginning of the Black Ops Cold War Zombies reveal trailer. This is one of many other locations that we will cover here, but the Ural Mountains, it's a huge deal in Black Ops Cold War. It's seen in the campaign multiple times. It's the setting of all of the Cold War Fireteam maps, which will then be the main Warzone map. We've talked about the Ural Mountains Warzone map several times before, so it does make sense as to why they would want to bring zombies over to that map, and at least according to the storyline, it would make sense as to why Omega Group has some type of outpost in the Ural Mountain. It's also very important to note that there's a cipher in Cold War that gives us a bunch of information about the Ural Mountains site and why we need to go there in the zombie storyline. Here is the cipher. Attention K. Initial survey of Ural site verifies it is by far the largest incursion zone yet recorded. We must assume Requiem will detect it via satellite and deploy fire teams regardless of sovereign borders. Recommend continuing operations while monitoring Requiem communications. With your support, I will ensure any new gains remain in Soviet hands. Again, this is from the perspective of the Omega Group. Omega Group going around obviously to these different anomaly sites. We're obviously going to meet Omega Group in Vietnam. They're already there. So of course they're going to be in the Ural Mountains at this high incursion zone, and they're going to be looking out for the Requiem Group to see if they catch word of what's going on and when eventually the Requiem Group, which is us in the zombies storyline, will pull up to the Ural Mountains. And again, the Ural Mountains, a super cool location here. It could be in the snowy mountains, but the Ural Mountains region, as we see in the Fireteam maps, it's not just a snowy mountain area. It could be the mountainside, the valley below. It could be a bunch of different locations. So it's not necessarily guaranteed to be a snowy map necessarily. We have Die Machina, which is a snowy map. So would you guys want to see another snowy map on top of the mountains? It would be a pretty cool setting, but we also could see the bottom of the mountains, below, inside of the mountains, in some type of cave. So there's a lot of different things they can do with this map, but I do think it's a very, very cool setting, and there's a lot of storyline reasoning as to why we would go to this location. Now we have the Berlin DLC Zombies map. This again was seen on Weaver's computer screen at the beginning of the Cold War Zombies reveal trailer. One of many locations we see here, but there's a bit more information in the game as to why we will be going to Berlin and why it relates to Kino Toten. So based on the information in the game, this is from the Game Revolution, so shout out to him. There is a red dot on a computer on a map, and this is in the background of the main menu of Black Ops Cold War Zombies. If you look closely, you can see it. This red dot actually points directly to the Berlin TV tower. And this TV tower is also seen directly outside the Kino Toten map. So pretty much this Berlin map will be placed and take place in this Kino Toten area, or at least right around it. And that makes perfect sense, because if they follow the Die Machina template, then a small portion of Kino will be brought back, maybe just the movie theater room of Kino, and then the rest of Kino will take place in a new location in the streets of Berlin. The intro cutscene of Die Machina also literally has Samantha Maxis in Berlin calling and talking to Weaver before the zombie outbreak. So there's a chance maybe this Berlin Zombies map takes place before the events of Die Machina and before the events of all of these other zombie DLC maps. And we also have leaks for an in-game code hinting at a Kino Toten remake. ZM_Platinum was a leak. We made a video talking about this back in September. The leaker said this was a Kino Toten remake, so it's in the files of the game as well. In the code, we also have the 115 Easter egg song from Kino Toten. It's in the files of Black Ops Cold War, so there's just so many Berlin and Kino Toten references. We're gonna see this map at some point here, expecting potentially around a DLC 3 time. And we also have these different locations that this Dark Ether soul is visiting, seeing in the future. The village is mentioned here, and I think the village is most likely referring to the outskirts of Berlin or some type of Berlin map here. The jungle, obviously we talked about, Firebase Z, Glacier, the Ural Mountains, so the village makes the most sense with Berlin or some type of area near Berlin. Now there's no evidence for this, but Verrückt also does take place in Berlin, Germany, so there is a good chance maybe we'll see some type of reference or some assets from Verrückt located or seen in this map as well, which would be really, really cool to see. I definitely love the horror, scary vibes of Verrückt. Now to go through here, DLC 4, this is potentially the Der Riese map. We have information about a Der Riese remake in the game. There are a bunch of other outside leaks, some lines of code that hints at a Der Riese remake. Now, Weaver's computer screen only gave us Moscow, Poland, Quezon, Berlin, and the Ural Mountains map, but the giant was found in the code of the pre-alpha, the alpha, the beta files of Black Ops Cold War, and some leakers said that it could actually be a Der Riese remake. And obviously, again, this would be the same type of template, most likely, as Die Machina. A small portion of Der Riese would be brought into the map, and then majority of that map would be the outskirts of Der Riese, or a whole new location that really doesn't look anything like Der Riese. And that would make the most sense because we've seen Der Riese brought back several times before, and we wouldn't really want to see it again, only if it is expanded upon, and if it pretty much is a new map just with a little bit of an old vibe of Der Riese and the factory setting. Could be pretty cool to see in the game. We also have the Beauty of Annihilation Easter egg song from Der Riese found in the Black Ops Cold War files, which again is really interesting. There are a bunch of these specific songs related to maps that we have other evidence for being brought back into the game, so let me know down below, would you want to see some sort of expanded Der Riese zombies map or not? And we'll probably get some more evidence, some in-game Easter eggs, intel hinting at this location very soon. Now to go through the next couple of seasons, this is going to be very interesting. We're at Season 5, Season 6 of Black Ops Cold War Zombies. We went through all of the zombie maps found on Weaver's computer screen, and all of the evidence in the game is hinting towards those locations being zombie maps. The giant Der Riese map, there's no evidence for it in the game, but it's definitely very possible. There are several leaks for it, but now we have to get into the rest of the seasons. What zombie maps are we seeing for the rest of the Cold War zombie seasons? We do have the potential for the 3 maps from Black Ops 2 that have not been remastered or remade: Tranzit, Die Rise, and Buried. Since we're getting a new zombies map every season, these maps now can fit into the seasons for Cold War Zombies, and it would make a little bit of sense. They start off the beginning of the game with all of the original new maps, and then towards the end of the Cold War Zombies life cycle, they bring us these remakes. So the order for this doesn't matter too much, but let's say for DLC 5, we get the Buried Remake, and there actually is some new information about the Buried Remake. The Classified COD over on Twitter was going through the Black Ops Cold War files and found the starting music for Buried. At the beginning of a new round, the round changing music, there's a bunch of different soundtracks that you hear in Buried for when the round changes when you start the game, and one of those soundtracks is found in Cold War Zombies. So what is the deal there? Why is that in the game? Why are they using Buried starting music in this game? Really really cool leak there. And there was also some leaks in the past for Black Ops 4, where for the second DLC season for Black Ops 4 Zombies, a Buried Remake was supposed to release, and there was also some leaked information that a playable Buried Remake was available. People were playtesting the Buried Remake on Black Ops 4 Zombies, so it's not like this crazy myth. The Buried Remake was actually a thing that they made, that they probably still have, and that we're going to be seeing at some point during the Cold War Zombies lifecycle if they bring those assets from BO4 over to Black Ops Cold War. And then, of course, in this Buried Remake, alongside the other Die Rise and Tranzit remakes we would get the return of the Victus characters and some more explanation as to what they're doing in the Dark Ether, because they were sent to the Dark Ether in Tactor Toten, if you guys don't remember, and it would be cool to see the status and an update on their characters, at least in the storyline. Now, the next DLC here obviously would be the Die Rise Remake, and the Die Rise Remake, again, another interesting one because there also was some leaked information that there was actually a playable version of Die Rise. Back in Black Ops 4, there was a leak before Black Ops Cold War came out, and it was a leaker who posted the intro, a leaked intro of Dead Ops Arcade 3. He is the same person who also confirmed that there was an old build of Die Rise on the Black Ops 4 engine. So this leaker, again, very credible because that intro for Dead Ops Arcade 3 for Black Ops Cold War Zombies obviously came out to be true. And this was back in October of 2020, before Cold War came out, before we knew about Dead Ops Arcade 3. This guy is legit. So there was a Die Rise remake in Black Ops 4 alongside the other remade maps that were scrapped that they couldn't do because Treyarch had to work on Black Ops Cold War. They had to stop that season, and Black Ops 4 wasn't that popular. But it's really cool to see that all of these maps were made. They have all of the assets for these maps most likely, so it would be a pretty easy transition to bring it over to the new game. And I personally think Die Rise is such a cool and unique map. I think objectively the map layout isn't the best. The elevator perk system is not the best at all, but the sounds, the scenery, just the map itself, something about it I just really love. So I would love to see that return in a remake and make it an all new setting. Would be super cool. And the last DLC here, again, this is going into DLC Season 7. I don't know if we're going to have 7 seasons, but maybe they could just add this at the end, a Tranzit Remake. A Tranzit Remake was also said to be made in Black Ops 4 Zombies for the second DLC season. There were a bunch of leaks as well that it would be in Black Ops Cold War Zombies. Some people were saying that it would be released at the launch of Cold War Zombies. That obviously didn't happen. A leaker, a bunch of different sources were sending the Revolution different hints and teasers towards a Tranzit Remake in Cold War Zombies, and also a recent leak had shown us that the Carry On Easter egg song from Tranzit was found in the Black Ops Cold War files, which again is huge information, because why are these specific Easter egg songs in the files of this game? That's another teaser towards a Tranzit Remake in Black Ops Cold War. And again, I think if there's one map they brought back to be remade, I think most people would agree with me, it should be Tranzit, because Tranzit would be such a cool map in this game. They had so many good ideas for Tranzit back in Black Ops 2 they couldn't do because of the console limitations, and now if they bring Tranzit back and revamp it, completely remake it, make it an actual good map, add bus route B, all these locations, you know, get rid of a little bit of the lava, get rid of a little bit of the fog, like they could do a ton of really cool stuff to make Tranzit an actually a playable, enjoyable map, and it would be the biggest redemption arc ever of a zombies map, and it would be super cool to see Tranzit back in the game to make it an actual fun map to play. And I don't know, I think it would be super cool. Let me know down below. And I do think, again, we could see that towards the end of the Cold War Zombies seasons, and if they do bring it in a separate pack, we could see some type of Zombie Chronicles 2 that is free DLC, obviously, but it just brings us these remakes. They can market it really well. It would be super cool, and hopefully they do end up doing that. Now, those are all of the maps we really have evidence for right now for Black Ops Cold War Zombies. There are a ton of other maps that the Woolads talked about back in Black Ops 4 that were supposed to be remade in the Black Ops 4 Zombies engine for the second DLC season. I mean, you see the tweets here. There are just tons and tons of maps that were supposed to be brought back. There was a faithfully remaster of Mob of the Dead that they were thinking about. I don't think we're going to see any of this. I think the maps that I went through in this video, seasons 1 through 6, and maybe the 7th map there, Transit, those are the most likely maps we're seeing for the DLC season. And if Cold War Zombies ends up being insanely popular, maybe they'll bring back a lot of the other maps as well and make Cold War Zombies just the place to play every single Zombies map, kind of like Black Ops 3 was. So we'll have to see what they do there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. This was a really long video. This took a ton of editing to do. I'm editing as I'm recording this, so it's just so much. So hopefully you did enjoy the video. Leave a comment down below, zombies. If you watch the whole video, it is greatly appreciated. Shout out to the YouTube channel members as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video or live stream. Peace out, guys.